All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. We're going to talk about Gervonta Davis's fight that is coming up with Yuriorkis Gamboa and something Terence Crawford said about that Gervonta Davis needs to watch out, or implied Gervonta Davis needs to watch out because Yuriorkis Gamboa can seriously crack. Now, we also want to talk about that and the fact that Leonard Ellerby says that Gervonta Davis his fights are like Tyson Fury fights, Mike Tyson fights. God, dog, I hate that Tyson Fury's name is Tyson. Mike Tyson fights. A little bit of an exaggeration, but I do think that they're walking in not just a little bit of an exaggeration, but I do believe that these guys are walking Gervonta Davis in the right direction. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, hit the bell icon. Also, special thank you to the new channel members. Also, definitely check us out on Patreon. Thank you guys for your support and the live streams we do. Come to OG Boxing Talk Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. with myself, Blood, KQ, Trap House Boxing, and the Boxing Historian, Curtis Anderson. All right, let's get into this. Gervonta Davis, one of my favorite fighters in boxing. I ain't got too many bad things to say about Gervonta because more than enough people are saying him. So me saying him wouldn't be anything but a waste of time. But he's got a fight coming up at the end of the month in Atlanta, Georgia, with a former champion by the name of Yuriorkis Gamboa. And I do believe that this is going to be a good fight. And the reason that let me tell you why I think it's a good fight. I know some people roll their eyes on Twitter at me when I say that, but I think it's going to be a good fight because Yuriorkis Gamboa brings a lot of, he's got fast hands, he can punch, and he's going to bring moments of anxiousness to the fight. This is not going to be a scenario where Gervonta Davis, at least I don't believe it's going to be the type of scenario where Gervonta Davis just walks up to him, slips a couple punches, cracks him in his rib, right hook to the ribs. Excuse me, he's a southpaw, so yeah, left hook to the ribs, right hook to the ribs, left hook to the head, and the fight's over and you walk off. I don't believe it's going to be one of those type of fights. I do believe it's going to be that it's going to make Gervonta Davis think more than he's had to think in other fights. He's only been two fights that I've seen him in where he had to do like make some adjustments, and one was obviously the Jorge Linares fight, not Jorge Linares, Jose Pedraza fight. And the second was the Francisco Fonseca fight where Francisco Fonseca refused to come at him and made Gervonta Davis kind of have to come forward a little bit on him. Wasn't engaging, was just counterpunching. And since he was just counterpunching, you know, it took Gervonta a couple minutes, few rounds to figure him out, but then he winds up stopping him. But that whole fight was a disaster. But since then, it's just been Gervonta Davis washing people, right? But during that time, I think it was a good thing for him to do that and take those fights because he had some things outside of the ring, just as, you know, related to his maturity that he needed to work out that seems like he has made progress towards working out. So I think that this is going to be a good fight. Terence Crawford said or implied that Gervonta Davis got to worry a little bit about Yuriorkis Gamboa. If you remember, when Yuriorkis Gamboa, admittedly, Yuriorkis Gamboa was a lot less shop worn and he was closer to the prime of his career. He fought, I do believe he moved up in weight to fight Terence Crawford for the lightweight champion, for the WBO lightweight championship. And Terence Crawford, I think, was beating him pretty handily. Terence Crawford had hurt him with, I think it hit him with a big uppercut, and then he was going in for the kill, and he underestimated or lost focus, whatever you want to say, with Yuriorkis Gamboa, and Yuriorkis Gamboa wobbled the tar out of Terence Crawford. And ever since then, people have wondered about Terence Crawford's chin because it's like, hey, if you can get wobbled by a guy as little as Yuriorkis Gamboa, then, hey man, what's going to happen when you get hit with one of these bigger guys? I don't really care. I don't really carry that analysis or follow that opinion I don't really agree with that because I think hey man, Yuriorkis Gamboa can crack. Just what it is. I think if there's a 140 pounder or 147 pounder that just slips up and lets Gervonta Davis, deliver a straight left hook. I mean, a strong, clean left hook to the chin. I think their legs might go stanky, for a second or two. It only takes a certain amount of pressure on your chin by anybody to get you wobbly legged. There's not a lot of guys that are just going to stick their chin out to Gervonta Davis and let him hit him with a left hook and not feel it. Same thing I do believe applies to Yuriorkis Gamboa. Yuriorkis Gamboa, the Olympic gold medalist, right? He's an Olympic gold medalist, so clearly he has a good amount of boxing skill, boxing experience out of the Cuban school. Now, he doesn't fight like those guys do. He is a lot more reliant on athleticism than, say, a Luis Ortiz or a Guillermo Rigondeaux. But still, this guy knows the ring. He knows how to fight. And he's in a situation where he's very, very hungry. So this very well could be a situation where Gervonta Davis needs to be, or it is a situation where Gervonta Davis needs to walk into this thing and take this dead serious. And if he's not taking it dead serious, then hey man, you might wind up in a situation where you get that, Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua thing. Like, hey man, you thought it was all easy letting your hands go, and boom, all of a sudden, you sitting on your ass on Dizzy Street. Very well could be the situation. Now, as I bring up, since I mentioned Anthony Joshua, perfect time to transition into the other side of this conversation, which was Leonard Ellerby saying that these fights with Gervonta Davis are Mike Tyson-like events. Clearly, I can't say clearly because I've not been to a Tank Davis fight. And I've spoken with people who have been at Tank Davis fights, and they were at specifically one in California, where they were like, man, Tank sold out in California. There was a lot of Mexican people, very few black people in the crowd, and none of them liked Tank, but they all knew who he was, and they all came and showed up to that place. So clearly the association between the knockouts that Gervonta Davis has delivered, the association with Floyd Mayweather and Floyd Mayweather Promotions and being on Showtime has gotten his name out, and the recognition of his name out a little bigger than I think a lot of people will give him credit for. Clearly, it's not a Mike Tyson level of event, because I could walk out today and with Mike Tyson, I could literally walk out and ask people if they know who Mike Tyson is. And anybody on the street is going to tell me, yeah, we know who Mike Tyson is, right? That is because Mike Tyson was that big when he was fighting. He was one of the, if not the most popular fighter. He was the biggest Mike in all of sports. Before there was Michael Jordan got to the level that Michael Jordan was at, Mike Tyson was at the level that Mike Tyson was at. So clearly that's not the case. I do want to say, though, that I like I'm at odds with a lot of people about this. I like the way that Mayweather Promotions and Floyd Mayweather are bringing along Gervonta Davis. I like it for Gervonta Davis. They are bringing him along very slowly. They are giving him fights he's giving them fights with fighters that he can win. And he can, as he gains age and he gains maturity, he's still 24 years old, 25 years old, now just really walking into the prime of his career. I don't think he has many more than 20 fights. It's not like he's up at 30 fights or 35 fights and hasn't fought anybody, but they have not really thrown him in with the Wolves until they really feel comfortable that he is all the way, that he absolutely positively has the ability to win these fights. So where a lot of people were pushing him to fight Vasily Lomachenko and say, hey, Vasily Lomachenko saying he wants him right now, right? If right now was, a year and a half ago, there was a significant chance that Lomachenko would have beat Gervonta Davis and derailed the fights that could take place for Gervonta Davis between fights 25 and 32, right? That real core, that core of your career, or between 32 and 36 fights, right? If you look at what they did with Anthony Joshua, Anthony Joshua got rushed. Anthony Joshua was out now rushed and cherry picked right? That's how I see Anthony Joshua's career. Now, Anthony Joshua's a good heavyweight. I do believe he's a top heavyweight. I get on Anthony Joshua a lot because I don't think he's the best heavyweight, and I definitely don't care for a lot of what his fans and the arguments that his fans and Eddie Hearn's fans make. But if you just look at Anthony Joshua just for himself, you look at him in a vacuum, get Eddie Hearn out of the equation, get the fans out of the equation, get the pay-per-view talk out of the equation, get the ticket sales talk out of the equation, Twitter followers and all that out of the equation, and you just look at what he is, you see a guy with 23 24 fights that's been knocked out once because he jumped in there with the wrong guy. And now even though he came back and defended that belt, and got his belts back, he didn't get it back in devastating fashion. He fought in completely different style, very safe style. And then, as Teddy Atlas said, during that fight, he still looked very, very feeble. I mean, his ability to take a shot looked very questionable. His willingness to take a shot looked even more questionable. So you don't know if you're ever going to see Anthony Joshua get into the pit and let his hands go when other people are letting their hands go again. And if that's the case, and if he's shy, hey man, he could have been developed to deal with that. He could have seen an Andy Ruiz earlier in his career, somebody that fights like that and been able to deal with that, not on a world stage, but at a smaller level. There's something to be said about the development of a fighter. Because when we see a fighter go too fast, like like Naseem Hamed. I don't know how many fights Naseem Hamed had in the UK, but he's doing well until he got up there against Marco Antonio Barrera, and then boop, he's gone. There was a bunch of there's a lot of examples of that. So I like how Gervonta Davis is coming around. I think this fight with Yuriorkis Gamboa is a better fight. I think it's going to be a better fight to watch than a lot of people think. And also, I think it's a very good selection for his career going forward. And eventually, before too long, Gervonta Davis will get stepped up with the guys at lightweight that we really want to see him fight, like the Devin Haney's, the Teofimo Lopez's, Lomachenko's, and all that. So hopefully we'll get to see that. Anyway, you let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.